This video shows you how to do a simple linear regression using Excel. I'm working with the current version of Excel 365. If you're using a different version of Excel, your screen may look a little bit different. Now let's begin by going to the Data tab, and here we see a section on analysis with data analysis as one of the options. If you don't see this on the Data tab, you probably don't have the data analysis add-in in your version of Excel. So in that case, we would go to File, select Options, and then under the Excel options, choose Add-ins. At this point, we can see the Excel add-ins and click on the Go button. Now you'll notice that I have the Analysis Tool Pack checked, so I have this add-in installed. If it's not checked in your version of Excel, simply check it and then click on OK. We don't have to install the Analysis Tool Pack for Visual Basic for applications. We won't be using any Visual Basic for our work. So I'll simply click OK here. Now I'm able to go to the Data tab, find the Analysis area in the ribbon, and click on Data Analysis. And here you'll see many different statistical tools that are available to you in Excel. We are going to use regression. So I highlight it and click OK. Now on this screen, we've got to identify our input. So we want the Y range, which is the dependent variable, and the X range, which is the independent variable. The data that we're working with are observations of a product selling price and the direct labor cost for that product. And so what we're going to do is to regress the direct labor cost on the sales price. We're going to use sales price as our independent variable and direct labor cost as our dependent variable. So direct labor should be in the Y range, and I will go ahead and select it. So I'm selecting the column heading, and I'm going all the way down to the bottom of my data. We happen to have 500 observations in the sample data. And next I'm going to do the same thing for the X range. That's going to be my sales price. So just let me click there. And move up quickly. Select sales price. Quickly move all the way down. Now we've got our two input ranges. I'm going to check the labels box, and that's going to take the very first row and use those as my labels. By default, the confidence level is set at 95%. It's grayed out here, but you can actually change that if you need to. 95% confidence is generally used in this type of regression analysis. And we can determine where to put the output. I want to have my regression output on a new page in my workbook, and I'm going to call that page Regression Results. Now we have some options for details from the results of the regression. I'm going to simply select residuals here. Now, this video is not intended to give you a complete discussion of regression analysis. You should be familiar with least squares regression from a prior quantitative course that you took. You can certainly look up information on the internet if you've got any questions. But since I have identified my dependent variable, my independent variable, and my regression parameters, I simply say OK. And here we have the results on a page in the workbook called Regression Results. And if I just open up some of these columns, make it a little bit wider so we can read them a little easier. Here we see the R-square from the regression and the adjusted R-square, the standard error, the number of observations, which is 500. R-square basically tells us the percentage of the variation in the dependent variable that is explained by the regression. Now, this is a very large percentage. It says that more than 96% of the variation in the direct labor costs is explained by the regression. And it turns out that the regression is highly significant. And we can take a look at the coefficients, but notice here we're using the label sales price. And down in this area, once again, if I simply go to the home area, format, auto-fit column width, we're able to read the labels. So notice that with the residuals, I see my predicted direct labor for each observation. This is what the regression model predicts. The residual is really the difference between the prediction from the regression model and the actual direct labor cost. And you can do further analysis with those residuals. Now, Excel isn't my first choice for doing statistical analysis, and we will be doing regression analysis later on in the semester using SAP's predictive analytics. But I wanted to make sure that you knew that it's possible to do quite a bit of statistical analysis. Again, look at all these different functions that are available right inside of Excel. This is the end of the video.